Research shows that the best jobs are never advertised. 80+% of all jobs are secured through networking. And researchers at Harvard University have found out that technical skills and actual knowledge account for less than 15% of the reason why you are able to land a job and keep it and advance in your careers. 85% of the reason why you're able to have a successful career is related to your people skills. Your ability to do small talk, your ability to be likable by your peers, to connect with people at an emotional, at a social level. So it just speaks to the fact that it's not just what you can do, it's also how people are perceiving you in the workplace that will eventually decide whether you're going to be successful enough or not. And I've seen this so many times, especially in a place like Silicon Valley, where literally your network is your net worth. Right? The people you know will determine how successful you're eventually going to become. And in my own career, having started multiple companies, every one of those big contracts I've landed has come through networking. Right? And whether or not I am successful when working with a client is also dependent on whether or not I'm able to connect with those people. People don't make rational decisions. Customers don't make rational decisions. Your boss doesn't make very rational decisions. We are heavily influenced by our emotions. So if you are a likable person, you will have so much more success in life, right? Unless you are a Steve Jobs or a couple of other extremely ingenious people, you can get away with being a bit less of a likable person. For most of us, we need to be nice people. It also turns out that even a place like Silicon Valley that might seem to be really huge, and there are tons of different startups, everyone knows each other. All the investors know each other. So if you behave in a way where you're running over other people, you're mistreating your employees or your investors, the word will get out, and you will have a much harder time raising the next round of funding or hiring the best talent for your company, or getting hired by an employer someday. So being a nice person is extremely important and a key ingredient to sort of being successful. And sort of going back to the network effect and the importance of sort of managing your network in a professional way, I know that everyone hates networking, right? There might be a few super extroverted individuals who enjoy going to a networking event. Most of us hate it, right? But it's still important that we do it because we're practicing our sort of conversation skills and practicing how we can go up to a stranger and have a meaningful conversation and connect with them in a short amount of time. So it's really about practicing your ability to talk to strangers and do small talk. It's actually quite important in this day and age. It turns out it's also pretty important how you manage your professional network. So hopefully all of you have an account on LinkedIn.com, sort of a professional version of Facebook for those of you who don't know about it. Your LinkedIn account is the first place that an employer will go to check you out. They will look at your previous accomplishments. They will look at who are you connected to. And it turns out that a lot of people don't know how to link up with people on LinkedIn. They also don't know how to write an email introduction. So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes on these simple things because I see way too many people making these mistakes. So when linking up on LinkedIn with somebody you met at a conference or a networking event, make sure to add a personal note to that, saying like, hey, my name is Henrik. I really enjoyed talking to you at X event. It was interesting to hear your perspective on how robots are going to take over the world, or whatever you might have talked to this person about. That little personal note, I hope to connect with you in the future for future collaboration opportunities, whatever it might be, right? But adding that little personal note will have you boost your conversion rate in basically the acceptance rate of people you try to link up with about 1,000%. I think right now in my LinkedIn account I have 350 unanswered requests, and it's not to talk about my network, but I have a lot of these unanswered requests because I don't remember who that person is. Right? They didn't add that little note saying, hey, this is where we met. I'd love to connect to talk about X and Y. And it just makes you makes that acceptance rate a lot lower. So make sure to add that little personal note. And also, when you're asking for an introduction to somebody, please be aware that that's actually a pretty big ask. Again, your network is your net worth. So your network is something extremely valuable to you. And if I just come in and expect you to introduce me to one of your high-level contacts, you are going to be way less likely to give that introduction. So you need to ask really nicely, and when you get that introduction, make sure to follow up politely, thank the person for making the introduction, and make sure to provide value to the person you're talking to. In balancing your network, there's something called the network equation, where a lot of people come to a place like Silicon Valley and expect to just get and get and get and get, right? They come in there and they don't necessarily want to spend time giving back. They just want to get introductions. They want to get input for their companies or get career advice or whatever it might be. You need to make sure that that equation is somewhat balanced, right? So if you ask for a lot of favors, at some point, you need to make sure to repay that later on before you ask for another favor. Otherwise, eventually, you're going to tire out those connections and they're not going to be willing to help you again. So make sure to pay attention to that. Manage your public image professionally as well. Try to Google your own name and make sure that the things that pop up on the first page are things that you are proud of. So create a My Page, simple page about yourself. Have your LinkedIn account up to date with professional accomplishments that are relevant to your current role or where you want to go. And then make sure to manage your network in a way where your contacts feel appreciated for helping you out.